Hello, my name's Stephen and welcome back to another Fulhamish video. Today we're going to be looking at former Fulham players that left during the 2020-2021 season and where they are now. We've had many amazing players come through the doors at Fulham Football Club, and we've also had lots of terrible ones too. Sorry about that. And last season we saw an eclectic range of Premier League quality players. We just couldn't avoid relegation. So without further ado, we're going to look at who those players were, how their time was at Fulham, and where they are now. Are they succeeding, or are they crashing and burning? Let's take a look. Starting with number 1, Alphonse Areola. Now, Areola came on loan from PSG, having had previous loan spells at the likes of Real Madrid. So we were really excited to get a great, safe pair of hands in between the sticks. Areola made a grand total of 37 appearances for the Mighty Whites, making 10 clean sheets, an average player rating of 6.74. So a really strong season and campaign for Areola, and we absolutely love him. I'm going to give him 9 Billy the Badgers out of 10. He is currently on loan with West Ham United under David Moyes, but unfortunately hasn't made a single appearance in the Premier League. What a waste. You can't get ahead of Fabianski at the moment. But he has made 7 appearances, 5 in the Europa League for West Ham and 2 in the Carabao Cup as well. He's actually racked up 5 clean sheets in 7 games and has an average rating of 7.1. So in theory, he's doing really well. Just needs to get more Premier League games. So I'm not really sure why Fabianski is getting the nod over him, because he's such a great keeper. He's getting 7 Billy Badgers out of 10 for his West Ham career at the moment, hoping he gets more appearances soon. Next up we have Joachim Andersen, who was one of my favourite all-time Fulham centre-backs. I think we all fell in love with him. He was absolutely brilliant, and we'd love to see him in a Fulham shirt again. So Andersen racked up 31 appearances for the Mighty Whites in the Premier League, earning 9 clean sheets along the way. 1 goal, 1 assist and a cheeky red card as well. But we all know that was a Wilson dive, so screw you Wilson. And it got rescinded, so should it even really count? No. Andersen was one of the strongest and most technically gifted centre-backs I've seen in a Fulham shirt. He had a lot of Champions League experience before he came to us on loan from Lyon. And he gets a solid 9 Billy Badgers out of 10 as well. Whoa, I'm being generous with these Billies today. His average match rating at Fulham was 6.79, so a solid player all round, a part of that formidable defence alongside Tosin. But how's he getting on now? Well, he has signed a 5-year contract with Crystal Palace that is for a fee of £20 million. And what a great signing that is for Patrick Vieira's side. He's found his way straight into the first team, having made 12 appearances for Crystal Palace. At the moment he's bagged an assist and he's got 4 clean sheets to his name already. He will be the secret to their success if they're hoping to survive and push on to a mid-table finish perhaps. So lucky Crystal Palace fans. Maybe if we get promoted, he'll rip the 4-year contract in half and come to us. Who knows? But at the moment, I'm going to give his Crystal Palace career a rating of 7 Billies out of 10. His average match ranking for Crystal Palace is 6.61. Not as good as Fulham. And at age 25, he has such an exciting career to come still. So well done, Joachim, and we hope to see you again soon at the cottage. Next up is truly one of our own. Marcus Bettinelli rose through the ranks at the Fulham Academy and was with us until the age of 28-29. He made a whopping 119 appearances for the Mighty Whites, making an average player ranking of 6.57. Now Marcus has been for us through the highs and lows of promotion and relegation. He was truly a wonderful servant to the club and achieved a lot of great things. But we'll think of Marcus very fondly at Fulham. I'm going to give him 7 Billy the Badgers out of 10 for his performances, and a big thank you. Where of course did he go? Well, we don't like to say it out loud, but he went across the road to our neighbours Chelsea. Blech. And his Chelsea stats are pretty tragic because, as you expected, he hasn't made a single appearance for the Blues. I don't think he was offered a new contract at Fulham, which is a real shame. So I'm going to give him, sadly, 2 Billies out of 10 for his current performance. Pleased that he's got a high-profile Premier League club, but ultimately, if he's not playing, then he's not going to get far. But he is age 29, so you're looking at another 10 years ahead. So hopefully he'll get settled somewhere and play some regular football. Now moving on to the Rolls Royce of footballers. Yes, I am of course talking about Frank Zambo Anguissa. What a player. He made 58 appearances for Fulham, making an average rating of 6.7 and bagging 3 assists to his name, but not a single goal, which is the only thing missing from his game. Now, he seems to have really successful loan spells. I remember he was really good at Villarreal. Anguissa is a truly unique player. He's world class. He's amazing on the ball, strong, talented, skillful player. There were times where he didn't show up, especially towards the end of the season, where we really needed the big players to step up, and it seemed like he went a little bit quiet. But very talented player nonetheless. So he's getting a solid 8 Billy the Badgers out of 10 for Fulham. He's currently on loan in the Serie A for Napoli, who have been really blown away by his performances, and they're trying to purchase him at the buyout clause of 15 million euros, but he is attracting wider attention from clubs in the Premier League. He's currently made 16 appearances for the club and he has an average rating of 7. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go at the end of the season, but who knows, with promotion we may be able to keep hold of him, though he has had 2 relegations with us already, so I'll be surprised if he wants to stay. I'd be happy to take the money as long as it's good, and I'll be happy for him to stay too. And he's going to get a solid 8 Billy the Badgers out of 10 for his performances in Napoli as well. Now next up we're going to talk about another long-term servant of the club, the amazing Stephen Johansson. Oh, Stephen Johansson! Steph Joe joined the Mighty Whites in 2016 and has made a phenomenal 131 appearances for the Whites and had 19 goals and 21 assists for the club, which is great work for a slightly more defensive-minded midfielder. Steph Joe had a really fantastic career with the Mighty Whites, especially in the Championship, earning us 2 promotions. Unfortunately, when it came to the Premier League, he was shafted out of the team and put on loan to the likes of West Brom. He was one of those players that never quite made it in the Premier League, or perhaps never had the chance. Very good Norwegian international as well. He'll be remembered very fondly at Fulham, and I'm going to give him 7 Billies out of 10. So thank you, Steph Joe. Now, Steph Joe went on loan to QPR halfway through last season, and that deal became permanent in the summer. The 30-year-old was able to leave Fulham for a very low figure of £600,000, which was quite surprising. He's already racked up a whopping 39 appearances for our West London rivals, scoring 5 goals and making 4 assists. Now, on that loan spell, I remember a lot of QPR fans were raving about Steph Joe and how much they wanted to bring him to the club. And of course, they got their man. He's doing very well. Currently got an average rating on Who Scored of 6.7. So for Steph Joe at QPR, I'm going to give him 9 Billies out of 10 because he seems to be doing really, really well. He's playing regular football and he looks like he's at a really good place at the moment. It was really good to see him come back to the Cottage recently too, and we wish him all the best, even if it is for the R's. Now, what did I say earlier about players that didn't quite make an impact at Fulham Football Club? Well, that leads us on very nicely to Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He actually managed to make 30 appearances for the Whites last season on loan from Chelsea. Now, he was such an exciting prospect to get a young player from a big club who had a history of being a fantastic performer. But in his entire time at Fulham, he scored 1 singular goal, which was deflected against Everton, I remember it very well, and didn't provide a single assist. He had an average Who Scored rating of 6.5. And if I was to sum up his time at Fulham, I would say, I can't believe we even let him into this club. The commentators constantly praised him, but they did not look at the stats. I appreciate he plays it through the lines, is good on the ball, but at the end of the day, as an attacking midfielder, if you don't have any end product, what's the point? Now, he, in my opinion, used Fulham as a way of getting his fitness back up, which is exactly what he's done, so he could just continue his career with Chelsea. I give him a grand total of 0 Billies out of 10. Now, as much as it begrudges me to say this, it seems that on returning to Chelsea, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has managed to find a place back into the team under one of the best managers they've had, of Thomas Tuchel, of course. He's made 16 appearances for Chelsea, gaining 3 assists, several of those performances coming in the Champions League, and he's got an average Who Scored rating of 7.1. Somehow seems to be doing a lot better than when he was at Fulham. How strange. Clearly there is a good player there, and when you surround him with other strong players, that probably brings out the best of him. Also, having a side that has more attacking flair and creativity rather than parkable is probably working well for him. As much as I hate to say it, it seems like he's probably getting 8 Billies out of 10 for how well he's doing at Chelsea on a personal level for him. But of course, it's Chelsea and he sucked for us, so I might as well just say 0 again. Talk about Ademola Lookman. He came on loan from RB Leipzig, and at first he absolutely exploded onto the scene, taking on players left, right and centre, almost as well as Neeskens Cabano. Now, he actually racked up 34 appearances for the club, making 4 goals and 4 assists. Now, whilst he started really well, I feel like he petered out a lot towards the end of the season. It looked like he lost a lot of confidence and a lot of that flair had gone. Who could forget that Panenka he tried to do against West Ham? I still have flashbacks about it. During a time of turmoil where we were missing penalties, left, right and literally centre on this occasion, dropping points needlessly. I liked him a lot and I wish him all the best. I'm going to give him 6 billies out of 10. He was fun, creative, and he's still young, but overall didn't quite do the job for us in the end, in my opinion. His average score was 6.9, which is fairly good. One of the better players in our squad last season. Ademola Lookman is currently on loan at Leicester City, so he's found his way back into the Premier League. He has made 16 appearances in total for Leicester, 6 of those being off the bench in all competitions, with 3 goals to his name and an assist. Not exploding, but also chicken along there. Again, I believe he's about 23 years old. He does have a bright career as long as he buckles down. I hope he does well. I know he bagged a goal the other day, and he seems to have made a good reception with the Leicester fans. So best of luck to him, and hopefully he'll work on his penalties. And I'm going to give him 7 billies out of 10 for his current progress. And who could forget Josh Maja, who joined Fulham on loan halfway through last season from Bordeaux. He was a really exciting prospect, and when he came up against Everton and buried those 2 goals and we got that big victory, we suddenly all thought we might be able to stay up. So he made 16 appearances for the Whites in that loan spell, but only bagging 3 goals, an average rating of 6.39, which I don't think tells the full story, because I actually think he was a decent player, but I guess didn't quite get the job done, so I'm going to give him 6 billies out of 10 for his time at Fulham. Now he's returned to Bordeaux, and it's just exactly how is he getting on? Well, he hasn't made a single appearance for Bordeaux, which is a real shame. Now whether this is through injury or just lack of squad selection, I'm not sure, but it seems like a lot of wasted talent there. Now he is young and I really want him to do well, and I would happily see him in the Fulham shirt again. So we're going to give him 0 billies out of 10 because he hasn't even played. Let's not forget about a couple more players. Of course, Maxim the Martian was with us for quite a few years. He made 42 appearances for the club and had an average rating of 6.5. I think he actually had a bit of a negative reputation within the fan base, but I thought he was okay, especially when he came on against Wolves under Scott Parker when we started to firm up. Of course, he was never going to get in front of Anderson. I quite liked him. I thought he was hard done by, but also wasn't the best defender in the world. So I'll give him 5 billies out of 10. He now permanently plays for Strasbourg, where he's made 8 appearances, including bagging a goal for himself and getting an average rating of 6.7. So he seems to be doing well. At the age of 32, hopefully he can finish his career out nicely. He was also on loan last season to FC Antwerp, playing a little bit of Europa League football there too. So we wish him all the best. And finally, we come on to the beast, the bull in the china shop, that is Aboubakar Kamara. Now, love him or hate him, he was a force to be reckoned with. An absolute powerhouse up and down that wing, and I personally loved him despite his slight attitude problems and the fact that he couldn't hit a barn door. Now Kamara made 85 appearances since joining the Whites in 2017, and he got 15 goals and 5 assists. He had an average player rating of 6.5 and of course caused a lot of drama within the camp with a bust up. But who could forget that penalty that he fought to take ahead of Mitro and missed it against Huddersfield. That was funny. I'm actually going to give Abu 6 billies out of 10 because I really enjoyed watching him for the entertainment, if nothing else. So Abu has made 12 appearances for his current Greek club, Aris, and scored a couple of goals along the way. A bit harder to find the stats on minutes, assists, and player ratings on that one. But I'd like to give credit to Abu. I believe he only started playing football at the age of 16. So he started his career very late, and he managed to work his way into, you know, the likes of Fulham. So fair play to him. Hard to rank how he's currently getting on, so we'll give him another 6 billies out of 10 because he's bagged a couple of goals. I hope you enjoyed that video today. That was lots of fun looking into the players that left Fulham last season. Which ones are you most upset about leaving or happy about shutting the door on? If you enjoyed this video, let me know and I'll do another one covering players that left in previous seasons, bringing up some great memories and looking at how they performed at Fulham and where they are now. Subscribe to Fulhamish. My name's Stephen and I'll see you again for another video very soon. Come on you Whites. Bye.